Hello everyone and welcome back to CookieRun Breakout mode with Galgon, and in this episode I'm going to show you my final video on the LustrousLonganPalace, which is the map that replaced the Fragrant Lotus Paradise in the main Breakout episode. And if you like this kind of video, then be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell so you won't miss out anything that I put on this channel. Everything is free, you don't need to pay, and by subscribing you make this channel grow and flourish even more, which makes me happy so I can create more content for you to watch. So we begin our journey in this breakout map in the bizarre Lychee caverns, and I'm using Timekeeper Cookie once again. At first we are using Licorice Cookie, but then it got switched into Timekeeper Cookie because Timekeeper Cookie can travel a bit farther than Licorice Cookie, even with her ability to resurrect herself from being knocked out. And yeah, this is also the very same cookie that I used on the very first recorded run on this particular map. The link will be on the top right of the screen if you are interested in that. And one thing I like the most on this particular breakout map and is that the song is actually really good. I mean, the first song on this particular map is very good. It's so catchy for me at least, and yeah, you can actually hear it for yourself by just looking it up on YouTube, and that is stage 1 completed. And I would love to talk more about this stage because it's tied to the main story, but sadly it looks like no one interested in that, and there's some other YouTubers who is bigger than me who already make that kind of video, so that's the reason why I never uploaded the main story content on this channel, even though the story of CookieRun is actually really interesting to look at. So it's time to talk about the treasure sets that I'm using. So the first one is obviously the turbo one, which boosts this cookie's speed by 10% and also gives me 500,000 points every 6 seconds. Although that affects, the latter effect will be disabled if I crash into obstacles, so it's best to not do that. And the middle one is called EZ Camera. What it does is basically photograph like this. As you can see, it collects every single jelly on that one frame and also destroy all the obstacles on that particular frame. And last but not least, it's the one, I forgot what's the name of this treasure, but this essentially boosts up the rainbow jelly score basically. And yeah, that's pretty much the run from Timekeeper Cookie. Although if you are looking at the strategy that I'm using compared to the top runners, and by that I mean the top 100 runners, my strategy is slightly different compared to those other people. And the difference is just one, however it will affect the rest of the run, and so I'll simply tell you where that effect comes into play. Also, one thing that I also love at this particular breakout map is just the artwork. Devsisters really pull everything they could muster onto making this particular breakout map, and I salute them for that. And that's why I said on the first video that I made, I say this is the best breakout map ever, and my point still stands, although it's so unfortunate that this particular breakout map never appeared on the breakout random challenges. And speaking of random breakout challenges, I haven't done that kind of video for a long time actually. And now this is where my strategy is different compared to the top 100 runners. And also this is due to the fact that I'm using the turbo booster. If I'm not mistaken, the top 100 users didn't use the turbo, and they will actually stop at this point right now. Actually, it's not at the stage 3 like I am. They actually quit the run just before they entered stage 3 as I'm currently right now. And apparently that's made the score into around 700 if I'm not mistaken. That was the last time I remember things before this map got changed into the current one, which is the Yogurka Secrets of the Mirage Village, which is the next video for the breakout mode. And so here we go into the second runner. I'm using Cauliflower Cookie. The current main one, if I remember things, they also use Cauliflower Cookie, although because they quit just before at the end of stage 2, so my start is slightly ahead of them. The thing is though, that will become a little bit of problem where the next cookie will be the one who run on this particular breakout map. And here we are right now on the slithering snake chambers. This is the stage where Snake Fruit Cookie's trial takes place, and Snake Fruit Cookie is the first epic cookie to be released on Season 7, as well as the very first cookie. And obviously the second one is Longan Dragon Cookie, and we will get into that cookie's particular stage later on. Actually, that's actually the last stage in this particular breakout map. And if you are interested in looking at what Snake Fruit trials look like, the link will be at the top right of the screen. And spoiler alert, for me at least, in my experience, Snake Fruit Cookie's trial isn't that difficult. So in Timekeeper's run earlier, there is no tricks like, for example, you need to fall into a specific hole, sort of like that. And that effect is also the same thing in Cauliflower Cookie, although in Cauliflower Cookie there's a little bit of a trick that you need to do in order to do the Cauliflower's last skill. And I'm not going to lie, the trick itself is actually pretty tricky, pun intended, but once you get the hang of it, it is actually pretty simple to do. And so let's talk about the treasure sets that I set in Cauliflower Cookie's run. So in the left one we got the Pancia Pestle, which is the treasure that combines with Cauliflower Cookie, and this will give me boost of around 900,000 points if I'm not mistaken, and also give some bits of health as well. On the right we got what is possibly one of the most complicated name in treasure sets. The name of this treasure is called Tricolor Chewy Rice Cake. There we go. I mean, that is pretty complicated. I've actually made a video of this particular treasure. You can check it out by clicking on the top right of the screen, and it goes into one of the sections that's unfortunately no longer in the game. It's called Treasure Trials. That has been not in the game since for a very long time. And last but not least, the middle one is helping Cauliflower Cookie to destroy some obstacles while also gaining points, and also adding 2 million points in the process. I think that's what's the name, the effect of the treasure. I forgot the name of this particular treasure. I think it's called Magma something. Anyway, that's the trick that I need to do in order to do Cauliflower Cookie's last skill. You need to aim at the sharp end deliberately, because if you don't, then Cauliflower Cookie will just get knocked out way earlier, which the score will not be 461 million or around like that. It will be like 410 million or something, which is quite far. And now here comes the part where I will call it the make or break the run. So I'm using Ninja Cookie here. This is the only time in the entire run where I use a rare class cookie. And this cookie, how should I put it? Well, top players in who is really good at the game will be able to score around 700 million points or even more. But because my start compared to them is completely different, because the effect that I put on Timekeeper Cookies, and that eventually make them score more than I am. And also the fact that this stage has a lot of obstacles. This is basically Ninja Cookies, the best environment for him. So because I couldn't reach 700 million points, and I tried. I mean, I really do try. This video doesn't make me look like I'm not trying, but trust me, this is easily the most difficult part of the entire run. And because I could not reach 700 million points in this particular part of the run, my target has always been and will always be at least reach 600 million points. And even that is considered a really high score for cookie runners who play on this particular stage with using Ninja Cookie. And so in order to break the 600 million point barrier, there's a specialized set of treasure that I put in for Ninja Cookie just for this run. Well, not just for this run, but basically every time that I try doing this run on this particular stage with Ninja Cookie. So the left one, the hammer shape treasure, is essentially boost the destruction points that I get by destroying obstacles with Ninja Cookie, and the middle and the right one is for generating jellies if I destroy any obstacles, as you can see right there. And also just a bit of a disclaimer for this particular part of the run, if I don't edit this part in the video, the entire attempt will take me half an hour, seriously. And also this is the moment where top players quit using Ninja Cookie and switch to entirely different cookie. But for me, because I run with a completely different strategy, I have to continue on in order to exhaust Ninja Cookie's health all the way to 0. And that is 636 billion points. There was one point where I did manage to get 650. I think I scored around 650 to 652 million points. But sadly, that wasn't recorded, so that ended up being, well, this 636 million run ended up being the highest scoring that I ever did in Ninja Cookie's run on that particular stage. So next up is Matcha Cookie, and thankfully there is no more shenanigans in regards to the bunch of tricks on Ninja Cookie's run, because if I mention the kind of tricks, then this video will just basically I talk about the tricks all the way to the end. So Matcha Cookie, there is no tricks in regards to Matcha Cookie for this particular part. You just need to run perfectly. And so the treasure sets for Matcha Cookie is the left one, which is called the Magma Ring of Destruction, if I'm not mistaken. So it's essentially destroy every single obstacles in that frame, and while also gaining, I think it's around 2 to 2.5 million points. I don't have the exact number here because I couldn't remember all of the numbers that the treasure provides. The middle one, it's called the Rapier something. I'm terrible at remembering treasure's name, and what it does is basically split certain jellies into two, and therefore it doubled the effect of that particular treasure. So let's just say I have a basic jelly that is worth 120 points, and if that basic jelly is affected by that particular treasure, it will split it in two, and instead of 120 points, I now gain 240 points. And because of that particular treasure effect lasts every 2 seconds, it's going to be really important for some parts during a run where there's like a lot of jellies that you can collect, especially in the rainbow section. Although the part where the lots and lots of rainbow jellies is basically passed. We just passed through that in stage 1 and stage 2 as well. And what's the thing I forgot? Oh yes, the part where I explain why these stages exist. So I somehow have to explain it without telling major spoiler of the story, especially for people who watched this video and yet apparently didn't watch the story part. Which is weird, because if you wanted to unlock the parts of the main story, then you're gonna have to play this particular breakout stage. which I have no idea. Maybe there's some kind of people just like that, they just skip the entirety of the story, I guess. And so we already at the 5th runner, and this video is just barely 50 minutes old. So yeah, Kumiho Cookie. At first, about the strategy on this particular map, we used to run with Rambutan Cookie, and that's because Rambutan Cookie's treasure set will support a lot of the effort, especially on the stage. But then someone discovered a brand new strategy to beat the stage with a higher score than Rambutan Cookie, and that is with Kumiho Cookie. And the trick is something that I will show you a little bit later. But this trick essentially pushes the score all the way up to a really much higher score than Rambutan Cookie. Then Cherry Blossom Cookie got a buff just before this particular map, Breakout map, was changed into the Yokuka Secrets of Mirage Village. There you go, that's the name. So yeah, the strategy got changed into Cherry Blossom Cookie, which turns out she can reach towards the end of the stage. Although the problem is I've tried it once with Cherry Blossom Cookie by using Kumiho Cookie's starting point, and I ended up with worse score than my usual records, simply because at some point you're going to have to do a trick, but because of Cherry Blossom Cookie's tremendous amount of health, we cannot do the trick basically. And so I'm sticking with Kumiho Cookie right here. And that's also another reason is because the starting point of which the top 100 players are completely different to mine, as I explained a couple of times already in this video. But also there is one trick that I need to do in order to be able to do another trick which makes this particular cookie's score is really enormous basically. So, and I need to do the trick here, and there you go, I did it. But there's also another trick right after it, just before we get the bonus time, and there you go. So what happened there was I delay the long jump as long as possible in order to get Kumiho Cookie a boost of the energy, and that is useful for reaching this particular bonus time, because if I don't delay the long jumps, then Kumiho Cookie dies just before the arc where Kumiho Cookie gets the huge health boost, and that huge health boost will propel me into this particular bonus time. There you go. And also you might have noticed there's another trick that I am currently doing, and which is related to how the game checks the bonus time. So because I quit just before the end of bonus time, it makes me go back into the same bonus time, and there you go, I can do the same bonus time again. for whoever the person in the world who discovered this trick, I salute you. You are an absolute genius. So anyway, stage 6, we've already reaching the third to last stage on this particular map, and I'm using White Ghost Cookie. And the reason why I'm using White Ghost Cookie instead of the latest strategy on this particular part of the map, which is I have to use Blue Lily Cookie, there's a very simple reason for that. The reason why is because to make Blue Lily's run work, there is a treasure that I need to use right now, but the problem is I also need to use the same treasure at the end of the stage. I'm not talking about this particular stage, I'm talking about the last cookie that I'm using. It requires to have a specific treasure on one of the sets of the tree, as you can see. So this is like the backup strat that I'm currently using. The first time we run on this map, we are using Pizza Cookie. And the reason why we use Pizza Cookie is because it's related to the fact that on this stage there is a lot of coins, as you can see. And the treasure set, as you might notice, is related into like using coins in order to gain more points, basically. Like for example, that K-pop card, and also the microchip one, which is the treasure on the right. And as a bonus, I'm basically using the treasure that is compact with white ghost cookie, basically. And luckily for me, yet again, because I'm using a backup strat, there is no trickery involved, like you need to fall at a specific hole, or you need to crash here in order to be able to get final skill at the same time when this cookie health reaches 0, so you don't mess up the next cookie starting point. But you know, about that part I've already ruined it. And also you might have noticed this is the stage where we fight against Sand Jelly Toad in Raid Run. And if you are interested in the video where I finally managed to get into the top 100, at least for a while, in the Sand Jelly Toad trial of Raid Run, then the link will be at the top right of the screen. So you might remember earlier that the bonus time for this particular breakout map is we riding a dragon. Yeah, we are supposed to ride a dragon with Ananas Dragon Cookie right there, but apparently for some reason Ananas Dragon Cookie glitched out, so he didn't appear, and all of a sudden he just teleports and picks us up, which is not supposed to be. Fun fact, if you are running with the dragons on a specific stage, especially during the bonus time, if you ride the same dragon as the dragon that takes you to the bonus time, the dragon will themselves make the bonus time, basically, which is quite funny. And so here we are at the stage 7. This is Stormy Lotus Lake. And fun fact, if you actually manage to land on that particular platform where there's a soldier and also fighting against an eye, if you manage to land on that particular platform, you lose no health, because apparently there is no hitbox in regards to those two particular obstacles. For some reason, I have no idea why. I mean, every single obstacles on this map, you know, when you hit it, you lose health, but apparently not for that particular those two. I have no idea why. Maybe someone on Devsisters just forget to code, you know, the hitbox for those two obstacles right there. Maybe someone can explain it down in the comment section. And so there you go. 6 cookie has completed the run, so we have 3 left, including the next one right here. And let's just pick up all of this magic pouch that we gather, and let's move on into the part where, there you go, we just skip one entire stage, basically. And now I'm running with Licorice Cookie. The last time the meta used for this part of the map, they are using Purple Yam Cookie, which does score a lot higher than Licorice Cookie right here. But the thing is though, by using the Purple Yam Cookie, there is a trick that you need to do, but because the timing for that particular trick is so tight, it's almost impossible, basically. Well, it is possible to use Purple Yam Cookie, but in order to use Purple Yam Cookie's strategy, I also need to use Blue Lily Cookie. And also, as I said earlier, there's a treasure that I need to use, but that treasure is for the last cookie, and so with that strategy is basically gone. And besides, I start on a completely different place, basically. So TLDR of the thing that I narrated is basically I'm using a secondary strategy. There you go. And for me, at least in my personal opinion, this is the stage with the best artwork in this particular breakout map. I mean, just look at the amount of chaos in the background though. Oh my, you won't get any more chaotic than that. And also you might have noticed there is ananas head right there. What it does, it basically assisted us. So right after we completed the bonus time with any of the 3 dragons, which is Taya Dragon Cookie, Ananas Dragon Cookie, and Lotus Dragon Cookie, they will help us in the journey to defeat Longan Dragon Cookie. There you go. That's basically the TLDR version of the main story, at least in this current version of the breakout map. So for the next video in regards to CookieRun breakout mode, I will be posting the video on the current map, which is the Yoguka Secrets of the Mirage Village. And next up, I'm going to do the video about the random breakout challenge. Yes, there you go. That's something that I rarely talk about, a particular breakout mode, even though it's quite often that I used to do it, but now I just don't do it anymore. And also due to the fact that I'm currently a bit short in supply in regards to both potion for cookies and pets as well. And there you go. That's what I call a tight timing. I mean, if I don't do a very specific move, Licorice Cookie will just die right there, even before reaching the bonus time. And this bonus time, at least in my experience, is the most difficult one compared to the previous 2, because you need to position yourself perfectly and choosing the right path, which is the path where there's a lot of rainbow jellies. And I'm going to do this very same trick as I did earlier, and also for the very same reason as the reason why I did the trick earlier with the Kumiho Cookie. However, there is a little bit of a difference which make this bonus time even more difficult, because the next cookie that I'm using is Lychee Dragon Cookie, and for some whatever reason on this particular bonus time, Lychee Dragon Cookie runs faster, even though I didn't equip this particular cookie with the turbo booster, because I've already did that in Timekeeper Cookie. So it's exactly the same, the idea, but it's much faster for some reason. As you can see, the speed is completely different compared to the Licorice Cookie earlier. And by the way, I nailed those 2 bonus times perfectly. It's very difficult for me to do that. I think this is the only time where I did manage to succeed it perfectly and getting every single jellies available. And so here we are on the final stage on this particular breakout map, which is the Dragon's Eyes Purge. And we arrived at this place with the 8th cookie. Coincidence? I don't think so. And to this day I have no idea of the cookie identity. You know, this cookie who slash swords at me. Is this cookie Longan Dragon Cookie in the person form, or is this cookie an assistant for Longan Dragon Cookie? Even though Longan Dragon had an assistant, it's called Snakefoot Cookie. So comment down below if you know this particular cookie's identity. So Lychee Dragon Cookie is one of the 2 remaining members of the original cookies that I used for the very first video that I recorded on this particular breakout map. This particular part, we used to run this with the pepperoni cookie, and this very simple reason is because there's a lot of obstacles to be destroyed, and pepperoni is one of the cookies that is really strong at destroying obstacles. And if I'm not mistaken, just before this particular breakout map got changed, the meta changed as well, from Lychee Dragon Cookie into Kiwi Cookie, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe Kiwi Cookie is one of the alternatives if you didn't max out Lychee Dragon Cookie? Well, someone will definitely correct me in the comment section down below. And also, if I'm not mistaken, there's also another alternative in regards to Lychee Dragon Cookie, and that is with a milk cookie, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it the next one right after this? Well, I'm not quite sure because it has been quite a while since this map was pulled out of the rotation. So yeah, definitely someone will comment me down below in the comment section just to correct and clarify things. And what's that one remaining thing that I want to talk about this game? And oh yes, this stage is the place where Longan Dragon Cookie trial takes place. And so if you're interested in that particular cookie trial, then the link will be available on the top right of the screen. And while I'm playing this particular breakout map, I think I realized something on this particular map when I did the 5th run, if I'm not mistaken, and that is due to the fact that the big Longan on the middle there with the wings actually has some bones on it. Spooky, I guess. Or it could be also the fact that since everyone turned into stones because of Longan Dragon's cookie power, and that is the place to, get rid of Longan Dragon curse and bring their souls back, I have no idea. But anyway, that's the run with Lychee Dragon Cookie done. We score 519 million points, which is really good on this particular part of the run. So next up is the cookie that used to be on the very first cookie that we used to run on this map, and that is Sugar Glass Cookie. If you don't have Sugar Glass Cookie maxed out, then the best possible solution is to use milk, if I'm not mistaken. Was it milk or was it kiwi? I'm not quite sure. Anyway, that's the reason why Sugar Glass Cookie is used is for a very simple reason. Sugar Glass Cookie is amazing on breakout maps because her ability to have shield, which I just use in order to not get hit by that particular laser once again, and also her pet allows resurrection for the second time. And yeah, this part on this particular final part of the breakout map is really, I would say, nerve-wracking because usually at this stage I still have my shield, which is not a problem, but because I do not have the shield anymore, it's much more nerve-wracking. And you could also imagine if I somehow crash right there, that will be really upsetting. Although the tricky part is not over yet, which is that particular jump onto that particular platform. I've actually failed a couple of times because I failed at timing that, and that caused Sugar Glass Cookie, instead of at the platform, she ended up underneath the platform, and that is not a good idea. So anyway, the hard part is done. I just need to watch out and not somehow ended up crashing into one of these pillars. And oh yes, and oh my god, look at the amount of the yellow berry jellies that we gathered. And it will only get better once we got into the final cookie that we are going to use for this particular run. And with that out of the way, there is nothing left that I could say about Sugar Glass Cookie's particular part of this breakout run. And I will see you at the 10th and final cookie that I'm going to use for this particular breakout run. I'm sorry for I say so much repeating things. And anyway, I'll see you right there. And with Sugar Glass Cookies run is done, it is time for the 10th and final cookie that I'm going to use for this particular run, and that is the final dragon itself, Longan Dragon Cookie. So you remember about there's a specific treasure that Blue Lily needs to use in order to be able to score a lot higher than a White Ghost Cookie, and that is the treasure that I'm going to use for the final run, and that is the treasure on the left. It is the Red Egg of Resurrection. Technically, the meta strategy is to use another rare treasure. I forgot the exact name, but the effect of that is to resurrect Cookie at a very little amount of health, but that should be enough in order to gain health boost and also doing the Longan Dragon's final skill. But the thing is though, in order to get Longan Dragon's final skill, there is a very specific trick to do, which is so incredibly difficult. I would say it's even harder than the ninja cookies that I say it's easily the hardest one. No, that's actually the second hardest one. The hardest one is doing that trick, and throughout my experience playing this particular Breakout map, I only do that once. Yes, it is that hard. Although top 100 can do that constantly, and I just, for whatever reason, I just couldn't do it. And so that's the reason why I'm using Red Egg Resurrection. The idea comes from me. I never say that before. I might be the very first person to use a Red Egg of Resurrection because it is a much safer strategy. You don't need to do the trick, although the score will be a little bit less compared to the one with the resurrecting the cookie with a little bit amount of health. And yeah, because Red Egg Resurrection actually deducts your score, which is not good, but considering the other alternative, which is the meta strategy, which is almost impossible, this is the second best strategy in this particular run with Longan Dragon Cookie. And so what will happen if you do not have Longan Dragon Cookie? Well, there's a couple of alternatives. The one I see the most is people using Blackberry Cookie. That's viable also. And another one, if I'm not mistaken, is the one that is for the very first time this map was run. We use Candlelight Cookie, and I just realized right now that I actually managed to pass that particular hard part as I talk about in Sugar Glass Cookie for the very first time in first succession. So yeah, that's actually much harder than you might think, and also there's a trick in here, so I have to pay attention. And there you go. So what I did there is I need to do a long double jump. So in order to make Longan Dragon Cookie fainted and then got resurrected as close as possible to that particular health potion, and that should help us in order to get the final skill, a final ability with Longan Dragon Cookie without using that particular strategy, which is incredibly difficult. And there you go, Longan Dragon Cookie final skill has been activated. And sure, it is a lower score compared to the meta one, but at least it doesn't involve a lot of tricks, and that trick, as I said many times, it is incredibly difficult. Anyway, that's it. The 10th cookie run is over. I got 6.1 billion top 100 scored. I think the last time I checked on the leaderboard, 2 people managed to score at 6.7 billion points, which is very impressive because usually the top 100 scored around 6.5 to 6.6 billion points. But yes, before this particular video ends, let's take a look of where we would end in regards to the local class of people who play CookieRun. Well, at least I think in the Indonesian region. So we will ended up in, we will take over the 18th place, and currently with 20 hours remaining, I ended up in 518th place. So what a way to end this video, as I passed 6.1 billion points. Anyway, that's it for me. I'm also a Galcon, signing it off, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.